Hi everyone. This video is a book review about a book that I have had for a very long time, and the title of this book is Powers of the Psalms. 375 Ways to Use Psalms for Love, Power, Revenge, Success, Blessings, Prosperity, Protection, Purposes, Rituals, and Prayers. All 150 Psalms included, written by Anna Riva. As I stated before, I have had this book for a very long time. I use it almost every single day, and that is why it is falling apart. You might recognize this book because it is a very popular book in occult circles. People recommend this book for those who are transitioning from, let's say, a religion like Christianity to other forms of occult. Also, those who are involved in mystical Christianity and other forms of occult also like to use this book as well. In this video, I'm going to share with you a little bit of information about the author. I will also tell you how to use the Psalms, how the book is laid out, how Anna Riva laid out the book, and also how I used the Psalms in my personal life to resolve some very dumb problems that I got myself into. I also recommend that on YouTube and other video forums that you should find someone else who has reviewed this book as well, because I notice a lot of the videos reviewing this book, the people share their own personal spells. You don't have to follow the exact spells in this book. You can diversify it and make it your own. But if you choose to, you can follow it by rote or to the T. So let us begin with the author, Anna Riva. I looked up some information about her online. I have used some of her products in the past because they're still creating her oils and other products, and they're also still marketing her books. So Anna Riva is actually a pen name for a woman whose name was Dorothy Spencer. She was born in the early 1920s, probably like 1922, 1923, and she died of Alzheimer's in 2003. She named herself Anna after her mother, and Riva was her daughter's name. It says in the 1960s, she began writing as Anna Riva. There's another author, Carolyn Morrow Long. She says in a book in Spiritual Merchants, Long described how the 1970s and 1980s saw the publication of a new crop of spellbooks. I also noticed that whenever I would go to the metaphysical store and I would see the classic books, a lot of them were published in either the 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s. So Anna Riva is really special because she's a very diverse author. Some authors would only stick to one mystical or magical tradition. So some authors would only focus on Wicca or Hoodoo or Kabbalah or whatever. Whereas Anna Riva, she loved to blend all sorts of things. So she had Haitian voodoo, she had Wicca, she had just all sorts of things. Hoodoo, neo-pagan, European occultism, Judeo-Christian, all sorts of things. And she produced an extensive line of magical oils, incenses, and powders. She retired in the late 1990s. Her company, International Imports of Los Angeles, was purchased by Indio Products, which continued to manufacture spiritual supplies bearing her name. Now, I did read in an article a couple of years ago that Anna Riva created her own oils and she would pray over them. So I'm assuming that the oils we have now, they're mostly manufactured. You had to put your own intention in them. Whereas she, I believe, made it from scratch. But that's me personally. I believe she made it from scratch. because she would get all of her oils and herbs and pray over. How she laid out this book was pretty interesting. She put all of the Psalms in order, so it's almost like reading the book of Psalms 1 through 150. But each Psalm has some type of action or instruction that you must follow in order to get the magical results out of this psalm. So, for example, you can use Psalm 1 to diminish the strength of an enemy, protection from those who wish to harm you, turn away from harmful associations. Some of these actions require material that you can use. You can use parchment, you can have candles, you can have oils, you have to do it on a certain day or certain candles, very specific according to this book. That's why I suggested that you also view other book reviews of this book, because different people will do different things. They might not do the same spell that is instructed for Psalm 1 or the other Psalms in this book. She also has listed Psalms that you can say for every day of the week. She has Psalms for the morning and Psalms for the evening. So you'll have a Psalm for morning and evening, Sunday through Saturday. Also, if you are going through some type of issue or you need help resolving something, she has an appendix in the back that shows you what issue you have and what psalm to use. So if I wanted God's protection, I could quote Psalm 121. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth, and all of that. So it's a pretty comprehensive book for something so small. She also has prayers and meditations in the back. If you're, like, I don't feel like reading the Psalms today. I just want to say a prayer. She has prayers and meditations in the back. The reason I gravitated towards this book was, I had a couple of reasons. Let me turn on my flashlight. I had a couple of reasons. One was my background. I grew up in a Christian household. Actually, both sides of my family are religious. My mother's side is very religious, and my father's side is very religious. Ironically, for some reason, my father was never religious. God rest his soul. He was more spiritual near the end of his life. But for a long time, he was an atheist. But my mother put me in a Christian school. And when I say this school was so like Bible, fundamentalist, Bible thumping megachurch. The entire curriculum, from the history books to the math books, was oozing in religion, which I really didn't mind. I just didn't get that much of a quality education. But we would learn the books, the names of the books of the Bible in first grade. We memorized all of the names of the books of the Bible. We memorized the alphabet using scriptures. A is for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Romans 3:23. B. So that is my background for that. I got along the path of using the Psalms for, I guess, magical use due to my best friend. My best friend has been an occultist longer than I have. I have been, I guess, not professional, an official occultist for maybe 12 years. My family doesn't know at all. Neither side knows that I've done the occult. None of them have any idea. They don't even know about this YouTube channel, which I hope they never find it. But my friend was the one that told me about the Psalms. She said, "Oh, Kiara, you can use the Psalms as a spell book. You can use the Bible as a spell book." I had never seen it in that way because I was always made afraid to utilize the Bible in ways that I was not taught. Everything was, you're going to burn in hell, you're going to burn in hell, you're going to burn in hell. And I never had any type of connection to the Bible. I knew it in my mind. I could tell you stories and scriptures on the spot with references and everything, but I never had any personal connection to it until I got this book. So there was a period in my life, it was maybe a 3-year period, where I actually got very connected to the Psalms. I was going through a lot of depression, I was going through a lot of turmoil, and the Psalms truly eased my soul. And that is what opened me up to using them to resolve my other problems. So the first example that I want to share with you of how I used a psalm to help me was Psalm number 2. Psalm number 2 can be used to destroy one's enemies and relieve tensions. In this case, I used this psalm to destroy my enemy. I had an old friend. Me and her were friends for maybe 5 years. This was a person that truly helped me. She helped me move from my first apartment to another apartment. She just was always helping me. We're always hanging out. She was an older woman. She was about 45 years old. Not too old. She was young. But she was older than me. So it was almost like having a fun big sister, and she just was always so carefree and very flirtatious and very pretty, and I just loved hanging around her. Like, I always loved hanging around her. And anywhere she would go, I would want to go. And that is how I got tangled in her web. So near the end of our friendship, she got me involved in some type of scam that I'm not going to really get into details into. But I do recall I kept asking, are you sure this isn't a scam? Are you sure this isn't a scam? No, it's not a scam. Everything's fine. So with this scam, I was giving this woman basically my whole paycheck, even though it was in my name. So if I had a $1,200 paycheck, I would like give her a large portion of it, and then I would keep the rest. So we're both making money. And she would be like, oh, I need you to help me with, we're going to lose my house. We need this money. I'm like, well, you help me. Let me help you, girl. Let me help you. You always have my back. Near the end of my friendship with her, I started getting really uncomfortable with this whole scam thing. And I was trying to figure out how to get out of it, but still kind of keep our friendship, you know? One day we were eating waffles, and she said, I like your hair. I used to wear my hair just like that. She showed me a picture of her hair. I said, oh, that's cute. She said, oh, yeah. I used to wear it like that in prison. Prison? Why were you in prison? I was in prison for 6 years. You were in prison for what? So that was the point where I felt I needed to truly leave. What started her trying to destroy me was when I was trying to leave, my phone died on the way to give her my money. Now, mind you, I had given this woman like most of my paycheck, like 80% of my paycheck. So all I was going to give her was $300, and she thought I stole her $300. She got very, very mad. She accused me of stealing. She went on my Facebook and started harassing me. She told people on my Facebook I had abused the elderly. She said that I was practiced divination. That part was true, but I didn't want them to know that because I didn't want my family to find out. But I don't abuse the elderly. She was blasting my phone. She was threatening me through text. She was threatening me through phone calls. She was coming to my house. She was calling me all night long. She was sending me emails. She was sending me PayPal requests. Hey, where's my money? You pay me what you owe me. Da da da. And give me back this and give me back that. She literally turned like this, like boom. And this went on for days. And I was so overwhelmed. I was just crying every day. It was just really, really bad. So I said, I don't know what else to do. I turned to the Psalms. Psalm number 2. According to Anna Riva's instructions, to destroy one's enemies, this is what you do. You write the enemy's name on parchment in each of the 4 corners of the paper. So that is what I did. Then copy verse 9 in the center of the paper. Verse number 9 is, Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. I did that too. Place it beneath a black candle and burn the candle until it is consumed. This can render the foe incapable. So I ended up getting a black candle, but I did the spell in a different way. I decided to make a cemetery jar. There's, 2 types of jars. You got the sweetening jar, the honey jar, and then you have the cemetery jar, where you want to kick somebody's ass. I decided to do a 3-day ritual using the cemetery jar without bringing any harm to her at all, because I was mad, but I wasn't mad enough to bring physical harm to her. I placed the black candle on the cemetery jar. I wrote my intention and placed it in the jar. I put black salt, vinegar, rotten eggs, paprika, black pepper, red pepper, banishing oil, nails, just like anything that just was horrible. I put this in the jar. And I did this for 3 days. On the 3rd day, everything stopped. On the final day, everything stopped. I said, in my intention, I want her to stop freaking calling me, stop pursuing me on social media, stop texting me, stop coming to my freaking house, stop sending me PayPal and Cash App requests, stop sending me emails. I only want her to communicate to me if she's coming with an apology. 3rd day, everything stopped. Did you know I didn't hear from this woman for 7 months? And when she called me, after the 7 months, it was with an apology. And she said that not soon after that whole thing happened with us, that her son, I guess, lost his mind and was foaming at the mouth and just went into an asylum. I mean, I can't control how it ends, okay? But if you're looking to destroy an enemy, I would suggest this song. So that's one example. Another example, if you are a person who wants to get their lover back. Psalm 88. Reconcile estranged lovers. Copy verses 8 and 18 on parchment. So verse 8 is, Thou hast put away mine acquaintance far from me. Thou hast made me an abomination unto them. I am shut up. I cannot come forth. And verse 18 is, Lover and friend hast thou put far from me, and mine acquaintance into darkness. On the other side of the paper, so you flip over the paper, write the 2 lovers' names as many times as needed to cover the paper. Place the talisman, name side down, beneath a container of fire of love incense. Burn daily. Now, I didn't have any fire of love incense. All I had was, pink candle and just the parchment. I used this to reconcile with one of my exes. We hadn't spoken in years. And this did bring him back into communication with me. But what you have to understand is that, yes, this psalm can bring back your lover, reconcile it, but it doesn't mean that you two may end up together. If it's meant for you to end up together, you will. But you'll probably have to have something more powerful or be more consistent in order for them to stay. You'll have to keep doing it over and over and over and over. So in this case, we reconciled and we started communicating again, and then he just kind of kept going away. But it works. We did reconcile, so I will give that song that. The next psalm I used was Psalm 118. And I use this psalm. You can use it for destroying satanic forces, prayer of thanksgiving, silence unbelievers, and when problems overwhelm. I use this psalm for destroying satanic forces. It says, when one feels that Satan's powers are surrounding them, it is suggested that the person sit in a tub of water, to which has been added some of the 7 holy herbs bath. Read the psalm 7 times, and this should repel all maleficent spirits which have been in the vicinity. Now, I did not do this in a bathtub. I actually used sage and opened all the windows and went throughout my house and said this 7 times while ringing a bell. The reason I did this was because I had somebody living in my house who was probably the most satanic, I can't even describe, like the most terrifying house guest I've ever had. And this was a person I had known for years. But their energy was so dark that when they were in my apartment, everything was breaking. This tooth on this side broke off. My chairs broke. My toilet seat broke. My fuses blew. And one night, they were sleeping in the living room. I went and talked to them, and I heard a voice in my closet. I heard a voice in my closet say something, and then they said something. And mind you, I lived alone. So, yeah, that scared me. So this person moved out, and I was cleansing my house. I was like, just get it out. Like, whatever spirit they brought, just get it out, because I was so traumatized from this person in my house that I was not the same for months. I was so traumatized. That was literally the last person I ever let stay in my house. It was that bad. After I said this prayer, my oven caught on fire. The day after they left, my oven caught on fire. I don't know where this fire came from. I was cooking something on the stove, but it came from inside the oven. And the whole oven basically almost went up into flames and exploded. So, yeah, it's going to be dark for a while. So if you're going to say this psalm, you need to say a protection prayer. There's plenty of protection prayers. It's just going to be dark for a while. There's plenty of protection prayers in this psalm book. The most recent psalm that I've used was when I was basically in Hawaii, trapped in the old man's house, and I wanted to leave, but I didn't have that much money saved. I was trying to save enough money for a plane ticket, and the psalm that I used was for release from prison. I don't know which one it was, so I'm going to look in the back. Release from prison, 142. I didn't have access to any tools to use for this psalm. In fact, if you just say this with a pure heart, you won't need any tools. You won't need any candles. All you would need is the psalm. It says, release from prison. The way to overcome all fetters and restraints may be shown to one who fervently prays this psalm each morning and walks the path of righteousness. Now, you don't have to be in actual prison to use this psalm. You can be in a situation that feels like you are in some type of prison, a mental, emotional, spiritual prison. And this psalm will work for you. Because right after that, saying that psalm for like 4 days, I ended up getting the rest of the money that I needed in a miraculous way to get back home to St. Louis. Also, if you are going through like, it's a depressed phase, or no, not phase, but like just a depressing time, you can just read through the Psalms and they'll calm your soul. All you have to do is read it with your heart. Don't just look at it as some archaic text and the these and thous. Like, you have to truly connect to the psalm and know that the person that wrote the psalm, or the people that wrote the psalms, said it with emotion. Sometimes when we read the Bible, we take the emotion out of it because of how we were exposed to the Bible. We weren't taught how to emotionally connect to it. But a lot of these psalms, you have them jumping for joy. You even have little footnotes that tell what instruments the people use. If you want it to be even more powerful, I would say read the psalm in Hebrew. Like, memorize or play the Hebrew version of the Psalms, or the Aramaic version of it as well. I have a book similar to this, but it is only the Psalms and it is all written in Hebrew, and I just scan the Hebrew letters, or I'll print out the Hebrew letters and stare at it as I pray the psalm in English. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from this, or if any of my spells were helpful to you. If you have any questions about other psalms that I use, you can write in the comments below. My favorite psalm, I guess just a little fun fact. My favorite psalms are Psalm 103, Psalm 19, and Psalm 121. I love Psalm 121 because I've used it in dreams to get rid of bad spirits. If you read the Psalms over and over, it'll become embedded in your mind. And if you go through some type of turmoil in your dreams, you can just recite it on the astral plane. So have a beautiful evening, everyone. And I will talk to you at a later time with another book review. Bye-bye.